So we all came here to definitely honor women, but also to honor our Lieutenant Governor of the great state of Maryland. And just a little bit, it's hard to describe someone who comes over at the age of 7 and is raised in a country with different language and different dress and different cultures and different foods. And you go to school and they don't talk the way you talk, walk the way you walk, look the way you look. But I just ask you to think about that. But you just go and you study and you grow and you go to college and you do engineering, which everybody from Hyderabad does. Yeah, hands up. All those from Hyderabad. And then you don't know, one day you're going to wake up and all of a sudden you are the first South Asian woman Lieutenant Governor of the state of Maryland. Wow. So, born in Andhra Pradesh, Lieutenant Governor Miller and her family came over and she was 7. Her father was a mechanical engineer. She earned a Bachelor's of Science degree in civil engineering from Missouri University of Science and Technology. She devoted her life to public service by removing systemic barriers to opportunity. Never think you can't do something because nobody else did it. Okay? Never do that. If your heart is telling you to do it, go for it. From 2010 to 2018, she represented the District 15 in Maryland House of Delegates, where she worked with her constituents to create legislation to invest in STEM education. Good connection, huh? Yeah. She streamlined the regulatory process for small businesses and was a champion for working families, survivors of domestic abuse, and the environment. She was elected as a Lieutenant Governor of Maryland on November 8th, 2022. She was sworn into office on January 18th, which is an auspicious day for me. January 18th was the day my spiritual grandfather passed away, Brahma Baba, who founded the Brahma Kumaris. January 18th, 1969. And he left 8 young women who were uneducated, but who had love in their hearts and a vision to run our spiritual community. From one branch, there are now 9,000 branches in 120 countries, with over 1 million volunteers in service. So it's an auspicious day for me. So I'm so glad you got inaugurated on that day, sworn in. So as Lieutenant Governor, her policy profile includes matters relating to transportation, mental health. We both share that with our parents. And STEM equity. She's also chairs Maryland's first council and interfaith outreach, which convenes faith leaders from across regions and across the state of Maryland to bridge divides, increase religious tolerance and hate. And I invite you to give a round of applause to our Lieutenant Governor of Maryland.
Good afternoon, everyone. And should I say namaste? It's a great honor to be here with each and every single one of you at the Meditation Museum. Sister Jenna, you are a remarkable individual, such an inspiration to everyone in this room, but also globally as well. When I look at her, I see an old soul, right? No, not in numbers. No, you're like a 20-year-old physically, but yes, wisdom-wise. No, as founder of the Meditation Museum, all of us who practice mindfulness and inner peace have much to thank you for being in this space for over 25 years. Thank you. Thank you for everything you do. And And on behalf of everyone here, we're so sorry for the loss of your mother last year, but know that her spirit is right here with us. Physically, her body may not be here, but I know that you feel her through your heart and through your soul. She is always, always present. And I have to tell you, life is like a story where each of us are the main characters. And it's amazing when certain chapters unfold in your life and you meet people and you think it's just by coincidence. But I'm a firm believer there is no such thing as coincidence. Everything that's meant to happen, every person you're meant to meet was meant to be. And the reason why I am here today, that I did not know this existed, is because I ran into Sister Antonia at Jamie Raskin's event at Capitol Hill. She came up to me and she told me about the Meditation Museum and asked if I would come. And I said, I'd never heard of it, but I will absolutely come. And so I want to say that our life, I think it was Steve Jobs that once said that you can't look at life looking forward, but you can connect the dots looking back. And that's exactly what happened. I was meant to meet you so I could be in this moment with every single one of you. So thank you. Really, really grateful. And I see the beautiful dancers, Aditi and Rishima are not here anymore, but they're in the back. I want you to say, I just want both of you to know what a remarkable job you did. Thank you for sharing your talents with all of us. I took classical Indian dancing when I was a child, and it was called Bharatanatyam and Kuchipudi. Let me tell you, I was not as talented as Aditi and Rishima, so much so that my dad saw me performing one time, and he said, "Oh, Aruna, why don't you go into engineering instead?" So let me tell you, you saw those beautiful young ladies that made it look so effortless and easy. It is not easy. So thank you again for sharing your talents with us. And Akshay, what can I say about you? I think you have a fan club of ladies that are ready to bond with you. Had I met you sooner, I would have set you up with one of my daughters. There is 100-year-old soul trapped inside that body, and I'm glad that you're releasing it and sharing the best of you with the world. Thank you. To every woman who pushes boundaries, lifts others up, and works to make the world a better place, I want to say, before I ask you for anything, thank you for everything. As I said, life is a story, and everyone has a story to tell. And I want to share mine with you. It begins with someone who set me on this path and gave me the best part of who I am today. Growing up, I can recall my dad performing yoga and meditation as a daily ritual. He would insist that my siblings and I do the same in pursuit to find enlightenment. But my father woefully miscalculated just how immature 3 kids under the age of 12 could be. We were less interested in focusing on our third eye and more concerned about missing Saturday morning cartoons. When it came to enlightenment, let's just say we weren't ready for prime time. We watched as our dad would go into deep, deep thought, where it seemed like almost instantly that we became invisible to him, and the world around him just vanished. He didn't seem to feel the vibrations of our bodies hitting the carpeted floor as my sister, my brother, and I failed miserably to balance ourselves upside down on our heads. He didn't hear the childish ways that we burst into laughter as we watched one another tumbling down. We thought our dad was asleep. My dad wasn't asleep. He was awakened. He wasn't indifferent to us. He was detached from his ego. He wasn't unconscious. He was fully present. He was listening. It is said to pray is to talk to God. To meditate is to listen to God. That fleeting pause between inhale and exhale, the space we so often overlook, the silence we rush past, that is the space where my dad was when he stepped into something vast and he was spiritually connected as one with the universe. It was here where my dad was free, physically, mentally, and free from thoughts. He was at peace. The kind of peace that isn't just the absence of noise, but the presence of something deeper, stillness, clarity, and joy. We live in a world that constantly pulls us outward into deadlines, obligations, and distractions. But the most profound journey is the one inward, where we reconnect with ourselves, with our breath, and with the quiet wisdom that has always been there, waiting patiently for us. Joy and peace are not distant destinations. They're available in the here and the now, in the pause before we react, in the breath we take before we speak, in the kindness we extend to ourselves and to others. So today, in this sacred space, let us remind ourselves that we're not just participants in the busyness of life, we're also the stillness beneath it. We're not just seekers, we are the peace that we seek. And the gentle power of reflection and meditation are needed today more than ever. The theme for this Women's Day event, Empowering Women in a Changing World, is relevant because no doubt the world is changing at a pace we've never witnessed before. But there's no doubt that women, just like we always have, are going to help navigate this change. Democracy isn't just how we govern, but the reflection of who we are. Are we a society that leads with empathy and compassion? Are we caring for the most vulnerable? Are we treating one another with kindness and forgiveness? Just as personal meditation gives us space to reflect and grow as individuals, when we come together, whether in worship, community dialogue, or shared moments of reflection, we take part in the collective work of healing and strengthening our society. And right now, this work is so urgent. But here's the good news. We've been here before, and when we stand together, we refuse to waver. Justice will prevail. I know that. I know that as an immigrant, that I wouldn't be standing before you if it were not for the Black activists that endured hoses and beatings for my right to be an American. You see, when you throw a bold progressive idea into the world, like the 1964 Civil Rights Act, it has a ripple effect. America's awareness of its own racial inconsistencies, awakened by the Black Civil Rights Movement, soon extended beyond the U.S. borders and led directly to the Immigration Act of 1965, which dismantled racial quotas and opened doors for a new generation of immigrants, including my family and me, to call this country our home. And when you come here as an immigrant, you know the great opportunities that you've been given. And with great opportunities comes great responsibility. Opportunities afforded us means that we have a responsibility to pay it forward. This is the reason why I chose to commit my life to public service. I'm inspired by the public school educators who taught me English when I came to this country as an ESOL student. They didn't just teach me English. They told me that I could be anything that I wanted to be, and I believed them. I'm humbled by the taxpayers who invested in students like me who struggled with life's curveballs and allowed me to get Pell Grants and loans to complete my education. I'm forever grateful to our military service members and civilians who made the ultimate sacrifice, including the Black activists of 1964 Civil Rights Act, by giving up their lives so that you and I could enjoy our freedoms. I know that in these times, many who serve the public are being maligned and mischaracterized. But as a lifelong public servant, I know there's no calling more noble than serving our community. So if you are a federal employee or worker, know that Governor Moore and I see you and we appreciate you, and we're doing everything we can at the state level that will support you during these difficult, challenging times. Governor Moore has a quote in his office by John F. Kennedy, and it reads, "Things don't just happen, they're made to happen." Inequality didn't just happen. Poverty didn't just happen. Gender disparities didn't just happen. They were made to happen. They were created by policies, systemic discrimination, and by choices. And just as these injustices were made to happen, you and I have the power to bend that moral arc of the universe towards justice. Through action, through courage, and through our collectiveness. International Women's Day is a powerful reminder that change doesn't just happen, it's made to happen. And you and I make it happen. And women have always been at the forefront, breaking barriers, demanding justice, and pushing progress forward. My dad taught me that reflection and meditation gives us clarity, but they also ignite action, calling us to show up, to stand up, to speak up. The challenges before us are real, but so is our resolve. To every woman fighting for a more just, equal, and compassionate world, I'm honored to stand alongside of you on this journey. And I want to end with a poem by Amanda Gorman, who says that, "For there is always light, only if we are brave enough to see it, only if we are brave enough to be it." And I know every one of us here is going to be that brave light. And we need all the light we can get to build a world that's more equitable, compassionate, and the kind of world that Sister Jenna has been building for her entire life. So let us all be united as one. Let us all be awakened and to build the world that's better for all of us. Thank you. Sister Jenna, if you could come before me. We have...
Oh, that was just, I think that was your best speech.
Oh, thank you.
It's gorgeous. It's great.
Thank you. You inspire so many, and me including.